Well, we're here in a absolute very first video of its kind, which is a viewer requested video. I've never done one of these before because I've never had to do one of these before. It's insane to think that someone not only watched a video of mine, watched it long enough to comprehend the content, but then enjoyed the content and engaged with the content and wanted more of the content. That's just like insanity. But enough joking around. Viewer requested a video going over the shotgun, the infamous shotgun now, that has got me the absolute lion's share of my total YouTube views. So if you're familiar with that video, which if you're on my channel, I'm sure you are, I have a Maverick 88 here that I purchased back in 2020 that I had made some upgrades to. Now, most of those upgrades have been covered in previous videos, but as the astute viewer was aware, I have made a few more upgrades since those videos that I have not yet covered in a video. So, that will be what we are going over today, and hopefully this is not a long video. So, we will just take care of that. So first and foremost, we're still rocking the Voodoo Tactical Scabbard. Now, I do want to mention that one thing right away that I just noticed as soon as I decided to make this video is that if you don't put the shotgun all the way into the scabbard for whatever reason, you might get a little bend in the end of your scabbard if you store it straight up and down vertical, freaking doorway or something, like an idiot like me. But the main reason that it's not fully inserted into the scabbard is because of this little puppy here. So we'll get into that. But let's go ahead and take it out here. This is the Maverick 88 that my channel is known for. A lot of people think it looks cool. A lot of people think I should have just bought a 590 for all the money that I've sunk into it. And I would say a lot of people, regardless of which of those opinions they have, are mostly right. Anywho, let's start tackling these. So first and foremost, we've got a. You've got to be shitting me. Well, I never claimed to be professional, did I? Okay, how are we gonna do this? All right. Oh boy, that should be sturdy. Okay. Anywho, so we've got the stock changed out. This is a Magpul stock. This is meant for the 500/590 family of firearms from Mossberg, and it is on an 88. A lot of you have asked questions about that. Basically, as I've said in many of the comments, if Magpul has made some kind of attachment or part or whatever that they intended to be for the 500 or 590, it will more than likely work on the 88 because it's pretty much the same pattern of weapon. The only exception that I have discovered to this, and I haven't discovered it in person, I've just spoken with some representatives from Magpul, I emailed them, called them, whatever, is that They do have a sling mount that is meant to go between the barrel and the magazine tube down here. And the issue with that is that if you don't have one of the models where the magazine tube extends all the way out to the end of the barrel, then you won't be able to use that part correctly as it was intended. You won't get a secure fit. I imagine that if one were to simply, I don't know, put some Loctite on it, that it would probably work just fine. But I don't have any actual hand-on experience with that part. I don't feel myself really needing a sling for a shotgun, especially where I have the Scabbard, which has its own sling. It's just not an avenue I've explored, so you'll have to find a different YouTuber who has gone that route. But anywho, so yeah, that's the Magpul stock. It's really, really nice, really comfortable, really nice hand feel. That's one thing that has been replaced. I believe this is the enhanced rubber butt pad, but this might just be the one that came with it. I'm not sure there is an enhanced one, actually. I think this is just the one that comes with it. But it is fucking thick. And excuse my language, I don't actually care. But this is really thick. And I've talked about that in previous videos. It's really nice. And now that I've actually had some hands-on experience shooting this firearm with all of these upgrades, I can again confirm it is really nice. I mean, I assumed it would be, and it was. Then we've got this, I'm not sure if it's Allen Company or Allen Tactical, because they're two brands that are really, really similar. They both market to really cheap firearms, accessories. But yeah, we got one of those, and it's just got these nice little elastic shell holders here. With the elastic ones, I'm not as concerned about having brass down as opposed to brass up. So these can sit like this, and I can just kind of, wiggle them out in a hurry. But I do want to touch on that note. With these, come on, man. With these on the carrier here, the shell side saddle, you do want to go brass up on these, and I say that out of experience, basically. I have been using this long enough and handling it long enough that I know that if you try and put these brass down, they will hold for the most part, most of the time, but as soon as you go to shoot this puppy, you're looking at rounds on the grounds. So please definitely go brass up on these if you don't want to be scrounging around for the shells that you just dropped out. It is a very real concern. You should definitely be vigilant about it. So anywho, I guess actually we'll just get into the side saddle since we're this far up and we've covered everything else in the back. So this is a Tacstar side saddle. I believe I have a link in the description of my previous video, or the original video, that is. I think I have pretty much all the links to everything in the original video. It's metal, probably some kind of aluminum or zinc, I imagine. A cheap metal for sure, not anything high grade, but yeah, it's decent. It holds. So there's that, and it's got this Picatinny rail up top, which I had mentioned in a previous video that I thought I would eventually use for a little red dot sight, which I did. And I suppose that's where we'll segue into. This is the first new attachment we're talking about. This is a little red dot sight that I got somewhere online. The brand seems to be Doctor. So I basically just wanted a little red dot that is just completely cheap as shit, basically. I just wanted something just barely enough to function, really, is all I was looking for. Hold on. Come on, there it is. You can see that there. That's the reticle there. We can turn it on green. There you go. That's pretty much all you need a red dot to do, right? I don't know how accurate it is. I can't really attest to that. I don't know how high a quality it is. It has survived rounds. I would say it's probably survived about, I don't know, 15, 20 rounds. You'll want to, if you want to pursue the same route, get yourself a cheap Chinese red dot just for looks, basically, which is what this is functionally for. I would highly suggest putting some Loctite on there if you're sure you want to keep it on there. Honestly, in the field, there was a few times where I literally just took it off. So it might be easier just to, just whip it right off. And actually, I think I'm going to keep it off now that I have it off, just so that I can store this thing easier. Because I don't want it sitting halfway in the scabbard anymore. That's not doing anything good for it. But these are really cheap. They're just like, I don't know, 15, 20 bucks. You don't have to go get some fancy fucking red dot if you're just slapping it on an 88. You know what I'm talking about? Like, the goal of this weapon wasn't to buy a cheap gun and then load it up with bougie parts. Magpul is decently high quality. Don't get me wrong. They're definitely charging top dollar. But other than that, like, I have not gone out of my way to get expensive parts for this gun. The Magpul is basically just for the aesthetic. Everything else, I cut corners, and I cut corners hard. I'm very much of the mind that you can still have cheap things that work great. It's something that exists in this world, and it's something you should seek out, because there's no reason for you to pay extra money just for brand name, because that's really all you're doing most of the time. But I don't want to get off on too much of a tangent. So yeah, so we covered the red dot. We've got this Slade Street Tactical heat shroud here. I love this thing just because of the look it adds. This thing makes the look of the gun, really. There's just something about a heat shroud on a shotgun that makes it look so much more menacing. And a lot of people, couldn't even tell you why. I can't tell you why. Functionality-wise, it is helpful. The gun, when I ran it this year, did get really hot after running a lot of rounds through it pretty fast in quick succession. But I could tell that I could still comfortably grab the top of the barrel because of the heat shroud. Towards the end of the barrel, not so much, because it's not actually all the way covered here, which you don't want it to be, because you still want to put opticals or optics on there, or keep your bead sight is really the main one. So yeah, there's the shroud, and then we've got this little bugger up here. This is just a True Glow, I believe is the brand. Fiber optic sight. And that's just to help a little bit more with the visibility and target acquisition when you're aiming down the sights of the firearm. You just line it up with the little gold bead at the end, and then you just click it on, and it just snaps right into place. It actually, I believe it hooks right in behind the bead here. So there's that. Sorry if I'm lazing you, blah blah blah, gun manners, boomers and their respect and manners bullshit. Up here we've got the next new addition, which is the flashlight. It's a flashlight. I don't really know what more to say about it. It turns on, it turns off. You can hold it down and let it go, and oh, well, no, that doesn't work. Oh, it's actually got a button on the top and bottom. I didn't realize that. So yeah, there's that. I did have one comment where a guy said, you know, like, you're an idiot, that's dangerous or whatever. And he says this because, I'm assuming he says this because, this flashlight is sticking out beyond the actual exit of the barrel. Now, I just want to clarify something real quick. Let's see if I can get something to hold this on real quick, because I'm tired of holding it. This is like less than 2 inches here, and unless my hand was actually resting on the flashlight and it slipped, I'm in no danger. And I have no idea why anyone would have their hand choked up on the flashlight, holding it, when they need to operate the actual slide tube down here. That makes no sense. Like I was just demonstrating, this thing is on-off. So you literally just press a button, that flashlight is on, press it, turn it off. You're not going to need to be operating that switch over and over and over again all the time. You don't need to like be vigilant and have your hand ready to turn it off or ready to turn it on. Like, I guess unless you're like active duty, like military or something like that, and you're on a stealth mission. But if you're fucking active duty, like, I don't know, Spec Ops, fucking SEALs or Rangers or whatever, you're not using this fucking cheap gun. And you're not using these cheap parts. You're using fucking bougie ass fucking top dollar military shit, or whatever the best private contractors can get you. Like, you're fucking kidded. You don't worry about this shit. You're not even watching this video. So, yeah, it's not even a concern at all. But the other thing is, shotguns, they don't instantly spread as soon as they leave the barrel. The round does not instantly begin to spread. You don't have shot pattern fucking as soon as it exits the barrel. It has to go a ways before it spreads. There's a cone effect. And I believe it has to go quite a ways, actually. Like, you've got a pretty safe distance before it starts to spread, before it starts to shoot out like a net, so to speak. So, all the people that are always talking about how, like, it's dangerous to hold your hand right here or whatever, like, no. Like, as long as you don't have your hand, like this, like, actually in front of the gun, you're pretty much fine. Like, I don't want to, like, try and give any kind of, like, doofus advice here, and tell you to do something dangerous on purpose. Now, try to keep your hand away from here, and don't put anything up here that you need to operate. Like, keep all your shit back here. But, you know, this flashlight is nice because it just screws into the magazine tube. And where I didn't have any option for mounting clips up here because Magpul doesn't make them for an 88. They only make them for 500, 590. I didn't want to look for anything else. I didn't want to try and, you know, mess with any of that. There's already a lot of real estate being used up on this gun. I didn't want anything hanging off the side because I still got to fit it in the scabbard. This works great because it's the same, basically the same diameter as the magazine tube, so it's not taking up any extra space. It blends in perfectly. It doesn't ruin the aesthetic. If anything, I think it actually adds a little bit because it looks like some kind of other goofy, you know, add-on at the end that might be, you know, to an untrained liberal who knows nothing about guns, they might think this is a rocket launcher or some dumb shit like that. You know how they are. So whatever. That's fun. We're just having fun here, okay? You know, I'm a fun gun YouTube channel. I'm not here to get in your face about safety and fucking, you know, like, tell you that, like, if you fucking shoot yourself, that was your own fault, and, like, you know, like, no man should have a gun unless he's, you know, registered for 40 safety classes. Fuck off with that shit, honestly. I don't really care about the Second Amendment, but one thing about the Second Amendment is it does protect everyone's rights. No matter if you're dumb or smart or safe or unsafe. You know, the guy that fucking blows up 40 pounds of tannerite in his backyard on a Tuesday for fun is just as legally sound right to own a firearm as someone who has a concealed carry in their purse that they only use on bad guys. You know, whatever, it doesn't matter. Or a duty pistol for an officer, or it's a fucking security guard or something.